Hey, this is DebraDanielsen. This is the Rebel Podcast. I'm your host, and I am looking forward to today's topic. I love television. A lot of you know me from TV, reality TV. And one of the things that I love is binge watching. I love to binge watch good TV. Now, the question is, how do you pick these programs? So my co-host Waylon is going to join me today, and he's from Palm Springs. So we'll have him on a little bit later in the show. But if your house is anything like my house, nobody seems to agree on what to watch, let alone binge watch. So I have had my last night of sitting there watching my husband David take the remote and spend not less than 30 minutes and up to 2 hours trying to decide what to watch. I have literally fallen asleep because David has got his heart hell-bent on finding the perfect thing to binge watch. It seems like whenever he picks out anything, it has to do with war, and precisely World War II. I'm not into combat. I'm not into bombs and all of that. I do like good crime shows. I do like murder mysteries. I like rom-coms. I like a lot of things, but it's not my top choice to watch war movies when I'm trying to wind down from the day's stress and strain. So if you have a house like I got, where people can't quite decide or agree on things, there's one of these new apps that I think is really quite worthwhile, and it's called What to Watch. So What to Watch is a perfect way to use AI, artificial intelligence, to determine what you like to watch and then have recommendations on the latest top-rated TV shows, movies, etc. It is 3 simple steps, basically. You complete a quick quiz. Then there's AI-driven algorithms in the background that takes all that information from the questions you answered. It analyzes it and spits it out at the other end. And it offers delightful, hand-picked movies or TV shows. What to Watch is called the ultimate guide to streaming recommendations. If you're like me and you're tired of endless scrolling through Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, trying to figure out what to watch, I highly recommend that you go on your Google Play Store and you download What to Watch app. It has a 5.0 rating. And I would just say to you, my preference is to binge watch on Netflix. Why is that? No commercials. I get the commercial-free version of Netflix. I do not like commercials. And you know, one of the things that really bothers me about the Hallmark Channel in particular is that every single commercial has to do with drugs. And it has to do with big pharma. It has to do with all of the 10,000 side effects of the drug you're going to take that are harmful to you, that kills you. Blindness, death, sudden death, all kinds of these things. By the time I'm done trying to watch an hour-and-a-half program that is stretched out to 2 hours because of the excessive commercial breaks, I'm depressed. I don't want to watch endless commercials, and I like a content provider that gives you the option to watch commercial-free movies, streaming services, etc. Today, we're going to talk about what I'm watching right now, binge watching, and what I recommend. And then we're going to take a look at what Waylon has been watching, what he recommends. He's watching on a different platform than I am, and I think he has a very good representation of what's on the other platforms. So it'll be interesting, and I think you'll like the recommendations that we're going to go over today. So the 2 things we're going to talk about on Netflix, number 1 is Jerry Springer. And this is a top-rated show for Netflix. It comes under reality TV. it comes under daytime talk shows. And I had never watched Jerry Springer up until this Netflix special. And when I did, I was actually standing there drawing parallels between how the producers produced the Jerry Springer show and how the producers produced reality TV, like Teen Mom. And then it did make some very heavy correlations to Jerry Springer and all of the goings on there, you know, the violence and the fighting and so forth. And it directly related back to the housewives, and it directly related back to the Kardashians. So if you're into reality TV, if you're into watching drama and you feel like your family does have a lot of drama, this might just be the best show for you to watch. It definitely is an eye-opener in many, many ways. And at one time, the Jerry Springer show was so popular, it took the daytime queen of talk shows, Oprah Winfrey, down from #1 to #2. So highly recommend watching this Jerry Springer show. It is an eye-opener, especially the man who marries his horse. Can't make that up. The second program that I really like and has, you know, it's a limited series, and it is called Missing You. This is not only a cool drama and a crime show, but it also has a very good romantic theme woven throughout the I think it's 5 episodes. And it keeps you engaged. It's very interesting. And if you like whodunit, and if you're really got a mind for trying to solve crime and figure things out, this will be the show for you. So join us today as we talk about these shows, make some recommendations on some good snacks. There you are.
Here I am.
And I like your beard. That's all looking great.
Thanks. I have a little bit of a mustache now. I'm trying that out.
Looking good. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited. We're going to talk about binge-worthy TV shows. And
Yes.
I think it's a perfect time of the year to talk about it. Let's face it, we're in the after holiday slump. And in most places like Iowa and Nebraska, it's gray, it's cold. It's like 13 here right now with a wind chill of about 0. Yeah, so that's how lovely it is today in Iowa. And I know there's been so many people with challenges in California. And, you know, I talked to my friend the other day in Atlanta. It had snowed there, so everybody was like hunkered down in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, there's stuff going on everywhere. And what better time just to sit in the house, grab a great snack. And this is like one of my new favorites. I don't know if you can see it or not. My camera's kind of hard. There you go. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's Ava Organics, and it's called Coconut Crispy Rollers. And it's sort of guilt-free because, get this, it's gluten-free, it's vegan, it's certified paleo, and it's GMO, it's non-GMO, project verified, and it's US organic. But here's the thing, you can eat 7 of these little coconut crispy rollers, and it's only 150 calories. And
Oh,
guess
wow.
what? Very, very low in fat. Very low in fat. Only 7 grams of fat. Calcium, iron, and potassium in it. And it's 2% protein. And fat, saturated fat, 6 grams, which is 30%. Trans fat, 0. Cholesterol, 0. Sodium, only 3%. And it's only 8% carbohydrate. So
Right.
it's kind of like eating a better type of popcorn, and it won't get stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, true.
And then to go along with that, I believe in my hydration. So I love alkaline water. And as you know, in Council Bluffs, we have alkaline water. But this is 9.5 plus pH, which is non-acidic. And the problem with most Americans is we're too acidic. We're drinking coffee, tea, all kinds of stuff that's got heavy acid. So I try
Yeah.
to balance while I'm trying to binge.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah, I've been drinking this. Have you seen these water bottles that uh
Yeah.
they put hydrogen in your water?
Yeah. Does that help you? Do you feel it?
I don't know. It looks really pretty.
Yeah, it does.
Because it lights up and bubbles are in it. Um, it's supposed to help with like muscle fatigue and brain fog and things like that. Um, I don't know if it's making a difference, but I'm willing to believe it does. Yeah, definitely.
Now, let's hear about what you've been binge watching. Like, what has been helping you through some, like maybe Iowa, Nebraska moments?
Um, I've been binge watching. I watched it. Um, I mean, I've watched every season of this when it's come out, but then I also rewatched it, which is Hacks. I don't know if you've watched that yet. It's on Max, I think, but I love it. It has the lead character's name's Deborah, also, and it has Jean Smart in it from who was in Designing Women, which I love Designing Women, which I
Yes.
also binge watch every night before bed. Um, I've been binge watching that. Um, I watch a lot of dumb TV, like Thousand Pound Sisters and
I
stuff
love
like that.
that show. And
Yeah, me too.
here's the thing about it, and I hope other people will see this too, but it's really about people who are sick and
Mm,
tired. They're sick and tired of the way things have been going, and they don't know how to fix it. They just know they need help and they want to fix it.
right.
And I think what I've been really impressed with is that they did fix it, that they did
Yeah.
move on. Now, they're still struggling, they're still on their journey, right? Everybody's still trying to find their way. But look at where they were versus where they are now and how much better off they are.
Yeah, on the last episode of this most recent season, they did sort of a flashback to the first season and showed them, and it was crazy because he it was especially I can't remember which one is the one that was in food rehab and all of that stuff. She was the larger one, but it's amazing how much weight she's lost and how much more mobile she is now and all of that stuff. And I I love that show because they still have a lot of humor and
Yes.
plus it's just really easy to watch when you're trying to fall asleep. It's nothing that that taxes your brain too much or makes you think too much. It's
And
just
and that's really important. Like if you want to binge watch something, but maybe you're having trouble sleeping, or maybe you're just depressed about something. And there is an absolute formula to TV shows that you can turn on that bring you peace, that center your mind and just put your mind at rest.
relaxing, not people yelling at each other or blowing each other up or anything like that. Shooting each other. It just stresses me out.
Exactly. Now tell me, what was your favorite part about Hacks? Like, why should anybody like really watch that show? Besides the main character being Deborah. Why would
Well, I love Jean Smart. I think she's so funny. Her just the way she speaks is just she always is her voice is just really funny to me. And her takes on different lines and stuff like that. Um, and it's just sort of like the premise of it is sort of like a showing the differences between this generation of humor, like the um this most recent generation of humor and like the older generation. And it's sort of based, I think, on Joan Rivers and her
oh,
life,
yes,
loosely, but and I love Joan Rivers.
yes.
So I think everybody does. So it's I don't know, it's just really well done. It's really funny and there's a lot of heart in it. And there's also there are a lot of great guest stars too.
That sounds like something that's entertaining and fun and uplifting and that actually puts you in a better place. So I'm all about that. I will definitely check that out this coming week.
Yeah, I think you'd really like it. It's
I
funny.
I know I would because I love humor.
Yeah, definitely. And especially this time of year when it's so like gray and
Stuff.
blah out.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I want to go back to because you brought up the Real Housewives. And I thought it was really interesting in the Jerry Springer show that's been going between number two and number three over on Netflix. That's called Fights, Camera, Action.
I
And,
watched that too. Yeah.
one of the things that really shocked me was because I never watched the program when it was on TV. I was working and I always thought, oh, that is just nothing but crap and it's fake.
Yeah.
But it wasn't fake and it was real. And what really fascinated me was the parallels they drew, direct correlation between Jerry Springer, the Real Housewives, and the Kardashians. And
Yeah.
the drama, they proved beyond a scientific doubt that if they had extreme escalating drama in their show and they showed it in real life format, that people wanted to see that. Kind of like wrestling matches. They wanted to see physical altercations. They wanted to see revenge. They wanted to see all of that drama.
Well, in an um extreme conflicts, groups of people that are, diametrically opposed to each
Yeah.
other, they put them together. Which I mean, one plus, going back to what you were talking about how it influenced, the housewives and Kardashians, I think it also influenced, Teen Mom and
Oh dear.
16 and
Yes.
Pregnant, maybe to a lesser extent. But yeah, it's showing that conflict, making that into entertainment.
When I was watching the whole show and listening to the producers, it is exactly the kind of thing that went on behind the scenes on Teen Mom. So there was a plan to make sure that it was worthwhile watching. And you have to understand that. Life cannot, if you're sitting at home and you've never been on TV, the last thing most people do is want to turn on the TV and just watch somebody be happy and have a perfect little life. And you're sitting there,
Yeah,
you're miserable, and you've had a bad day. Maybe you got fired. Maybe your boss lipped off to you, right? There's all kinds of stupid things that happen. Well, the last thing you want to do is come home and watch somebody have a fairy tale life, right?
right.
You just want to kick the dog and scream and throw something out the window. So it's just really fascinating how these producers were so upfront and honest about how they wanted conflict and what they did to create it. Because if these people didn't get higher ratings, then their show was going to go off. And that's exactly the formula that goes on, on Teen Mom, that goes on The Real Housewives, that goes on the Kardashians. And that's how come they've been so popular.
Well, I thought it was really interesting. They showed the producers, they weren't feeding lines necessarily um to the people that were the guests that were appearing on the show, but they were sort of boiling down their conflict to what, you know, kind of in a way sort of dumbing it down like they're like, how would you respond to this? You'd respond with, you stole my husband. What, I'm so mad at you. Things like that. Like, this is what you should be thinking, or this is what you're thinking, right? So it was, yeah, it was really eye-opening to how they produced those shows and why
Now,
those huge fights ended up happening because they really like gin those people up and make them, you know?
You know, they had to do that. See, I see both sides of this. They had to groom the guests. They had to boil it down, as you said, because if they didn't, a lot of people are not in touch with their feelings, or they've been raised to think that it wasn't right to have feelings. And if you did, oh my God, it's not appropriate that you're expressing them out loud like that. So there's a
Right.
whole psychology behind being able to articulate the problem, to call it out honestly, and then to take it to the next level, so to speak, and just say, okay, bitch, I've had enough and I'm going to knock your teeth out because I don't like that you say my husband, right? Or whatever.
Yeah,
But yes, it takes and I'm not going to say cheerleader, but it's almost like that. You need
yeah,
courage. You need to know that it's okay for you to finally express your true
yeah.
feeling.
And that's kind of what those people, the producers were doing. They were sort of like reflecting the situation back to the people and being like, this is how you're feeling. Like this is, this is what has happened. This is, somebody stole your man or somebody, is sleeping with your man. And so isn't this how you're feeling? You're mad. You should be mad about this.
Right. And you should go punch their lights out.
Yeah.
And I couldn't
Yeah.
believe they brought the Ku Klux Klan on there. And oh my gosh, diametrically opposed organizations. And then they just commenced having a free for all. And it's a wonder nobody.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I remember when that happened. I remember, I don't know if I wasn't allowed to watch the Jerry Springer show very much as a kid. So, but I do remember when that happened. I don't think I was allowed to watch it, but I
Yeah,
remember reading about it and hearing about it.
it was huge. It was all
Yeah.
over the New York Times and everything. And gradually and slowly but surely, it went from Jerry Springer, the unknown, to Jerry Springer being cheered and outdoing Oprah Winfrey, the queen of daytime talk show. And
Yeah.
Oprah, I loved Oprah that they interviewed her and that she said, this isn't right. Why are people saying it's okay to do these kind of things and to behave poorly? So I thought that was well done, though. She did articulate, I thought, a very good concern.
I remember the Oprah show when it first came out, before she made that big switch to being like inspirational television.
I do.
Because when she first came out in daytime, her show, a lot of the themes, it was confronting people, my husband's cheating on me, my daughter is out of control, it was kind of trash TV. And then she made that switch, I think, sometime after Jerry Springer came out. Nothing against Oprah, but she sort of acted like none of those previous shows ever happened.
Right, right.
That she was above it all, when really she wasn't.
No, no. When you have ratings and you have sponsors that, give you money for your ratings because they want their product seen, you cannot be too proud and you cannot be too perfect. You have to do what you have to do. And I think she
Right. You have
kind
to,
of saw the writing on the wall.
yeah. Well, I think she wanted to position herself so that she was sort of the opposite of what that was, whatever Jerry Springer was, so that she could, be different and be above that.
If you really watch Jerry Springer, he wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't
No.
He wasn't out there like encouraging people to do bad things, but he would ask a question every now and then that would just set people like, whoo, way off, right? And they would go
Well,
bizarre.
wasn't he a mayor of some city
Yeah.
too at one point? Yeah. Before that.
I thought to myself, maybe I should go run for mayor. Maybe
You should.
I should go do something like that. The
You'd be a
other
great mayor.
thing, yeah, thank you. The other thing that really got me though was I guess there's in anything, there's the the highs and the lows. So when this gentleman called in and said, I've been thinking about calling in for a really long time and I have a story and I feel like it needs to be told. And I'm sitting there going, okay, what the hell is it? Spit it out, right? And he goes, I married my horse. I'm like,
Yeah, that was awesome.
what does in my mind, I'm going, what does this mean? What exactly are we talking about? And Jerry Springer asked the question. So, what does this mean? Does this mean that you're having a relationship, an intimate relationship with your horse? And the guy goes, yes. And I just thought, what kind of animal is this? Does could not
Well,
believe it. And that was the beginning of the end for the whole show.
yeah. Well, they just tried to outdo, you know, what they had done before. They kept trying to get crazier and crazier, and then they ended up with some guy who's married to a horse or in a relationship with a horse.
Left his
Yeah, and they
wife.
said that he had left. Yeah, he left his wife and his kids for a be in a relationship with a horse.
Yeah. And then when he was kissing this horse, I'm like, oh God, I cannot go this. I cannot even understand.
Yeah, I think they said they showed it once or something, or they showed it. It aired in one market, I think in the New York market, and then they,
And then that it got totally nixed.
yeah, well, and rightfully so. I mean,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Just the buzz of it broke all the records.
I wonder what happened to that guy
I don't know, but it can't be good.
and that horse too. They should do a Where Are They Now?
Where are they now? What happened next?
Like, are they still together, or
I'm sure they had to break up.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
The other show that I watched, I was going to talk about one of my favorite people, which is Daniel Levy. I love Daniel Levy. And
Yeah.
he did a movie called Good Grief. And I sat there and watched this movie, and it reminded me so much of something that had happened to me in my life, you know. And I thought to myself, well, I don't want to talk about this movie called Good Grief, even though I loved it and even though it was magnificent, because, you know, it is the time of the year where we need to like perk up a little bit and we need to have some, I guess, some hope and good love, you know, good vibe around.
Yeah. Good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other show that I kind of binged watched that was really shockingly amazing to me was called Missing You. And that's been over on Netflix as well. Brand new limited series. It's a 2025. And it's been doing, I think, somewhere around 5 to 8 on the top 10 Netflix series. But it's got 5 series and it's done over in London, over in the UK. Even though it's done in the UK, it feels very American with the theme and the everything that goes on. But if you like crime, and if you like whodunit kind of mysteries, it's a very real, like, police show. Like, she's a detective. The woman is a detective, and she is on this quest because her dad was killed. And she's got all these friends. It talks about her friends. They show their lives, they show their interactions. And then it's her trying to solve in these 5 episodes the mystery of this murder, which she doesn't realize leads to her finding out about her own dad's murder.
Uh,
Yeah. And then the twist is 11 years prior to this, she had been deeply, madly in love with Josh. And then all of a sudden, you know, things were going great. She thought they were going to get married. They were going to have a life. Her dad loved him, all this, all that. All of a sudden, Josh just went blank, off the radar, couldn't find him. He was nowhere on social media. And it's quite a task to disappear off of social media. But now, fast forward 11 years later, there's this mystery going on. Thank you for watching the Rebel Podcast.